Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayambhupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sopadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.
So welcome you all once again. I hope you had a good weekend, all keeping well, keeping safe. No. So we'll continue our chapter 7. Maybe today we'll try to conclude chapter 7, which is actually very first chapter of Bhakti Yoga and a very important chapter as well. We'll just quickly revise what we have discussed in last week. Hope you can see my screen.
टीचर को बोलो मेरे तुम्हें संग
ठीक है लिया क्लास के बाद ओके So we have seen here, I think let me so in last two sessions actually we have seen about the Devata worship or demigod worship, and then we have seen the impersonalist or the way of Krishna says that people worship Devatas to fulfill their desire very quickly, and they are alpamedesha, they are very less intelligent, right? And then we have seen how Krishna says that some people are there, some philosophers are there who think Krishna as impersonal. So he's void, he's nothing, he's not a person, and he has come into this illusion, and he has taken another form as Krishna. And Krishna defeated that. He says they are abudaya, they are actually less unintelligent, right? So after that, Krishna, in the last verse we discussed 25th, where Krishna speaks about this, that I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. So the foolish and unintelligent, Krishna is never manifest to them. Naham prakash sarvasya yoga maya samanvrita. How? Those are covered by Krishna's internal potency. And therefore, they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So Krishna's nature is unborn and infallible, is being not known to the foolish and unintelligent. So, and then that's what we have discussed, and we finished our last discussion. So today we'll continue from 26th chapter verse till the end. And in this verse, so I think we have taken two sessions, last two sessions, for understanding this impersonalism and how Krishna is actually a person, he's not imperson, and how Krishna is aloof of these three modes. That also we were discussed earlier in this chapter when Krishna speaks about his material and spiritual energy, this Pancha Mahabhut and living entity, and then the three modes. Because of three modes, this we living entity are conditions, and hence we forget Krishna. And then Krishna says, actually, but I am aloof of that. I am not bound by these three modes. Though three modes are being created by me, but I am not within them, right? And then in the last verse, we discussed that Krishna how reserves the right not to be revealed. So it's very easy, isn't it? You cannot know a person very well when you are not associate with him properly. So when you associate with Krishna with having faith in the scriptures, Krishna starts revealing to us. Otherwise, Krishna says, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. Right? Krishna is not obliged to, come and show. Some person says, okay, have you seen the God? Then show me where is God. So it's not that Krishna is come and show you the form. You need first faith. As we see in Prahlad Maharaj, he has complete faith. And when Hiranyakashipu asks that, does your Krishna lives in this, Vishnu lives in this pillar? He said, yes, he is there. And just to prove the words of Prahlad Maharaj are right, and anyway, it's fact as well. Krishna lives in everywhere, in every atom. So he appeared in the form of Narsingadev. All right. So let's see Krishna what says ahead. And this 26th verse again speaks more about person. He is a person and who knows the past, the future, and present of every living being. So Krishna says in text 26, Vedaham samitatani vartamanani cha Arjuna bhavisyani cha bhutani mamatu vedana kaschana. So Krishna saying, O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entity, but no one knows me. So this point is, Krishna says, Vedaham samitatani. So I completely know my past. So if you remember, in previous, in chapter 4, where where Krishna says that this knowledge I have already given to Vivaswan. So Arjuna asks a question, you look to be of same age, then how could you give this knowledge to Vivaswan in a very long time? It's millions of years back. How is possible? Then Krishna says, I remember everything, but you don't. So that's what Krishna is saying again, that Vedam Samitatani Vartamanani cha Arjuna and Bhavishyani. So he knows everything. Vedam is knowledge. He knows everything about the present. He knows about Vartaman, this is present. He knows about the Bhavishya, that is future, and Bhutan, this is past. So Krishna knows everything in his past, everything in his present, as well as he knows everything in future what's going to happen. So we living entity, we do not know even our past very well, neither we are knowing our present. That's why we are struggling a lot. And then we do not have any idea about future. We always make so many plans, but that goes here and there, isn't it? Many a time it goes here and there as well. So we living entity doesn't know our past very well, neither present nor future. And Krishna says, I know everything in my past, everything in my present. Also, I know everything in future. Not only that, Krishna says that I know all living entities as well. It's not about Krishna knowing himself. So there's a difference, right? We living entity forget everything. If we take another birth, we forget everything. But Krishna's previous birth and Krishna's next birth, it's not birth, in fact, it's incarnation. So all are actually same. So he's like same Sachidananda body. He comes with that. Right? And he knows everything, what he has done in past. And he also comes here, he incarnate here to do some pastime. He knows very well what he's going to do. So, but just to please his devotee, he comes and do his pastimes. However, Krishna says, Mamatu Vedana Kaschana, the people do not know me. It's very difficult to know Krishna. If you remember, in third verse, Krishna says, Manushyanam sasresu kaschidhyate siddhye etatam siddhanam kaschin mam vedi tattvataha. So understanding Krishna is completely, it's very, very difficult and very rare as well. So that's why Krishna is claiming again that I know everyone. I know everyone's past, I know everyone's present, I know everyone's future, but no one knows me. Right? So let's see the purport. What Prabhupada says here. Prabhupada says here, the question of personality and impersonality are clearly stated. If Krishna, that's basically text 24, where impersonalism or the people who think Krishna is impersonal, that's been counteracted again here by Prabhupada in this purport. He says, if Krishna, the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead, were Maya or material, as the impersonalist considered him to be, then like the living entity, he would change his body and forget everything about his past life. So anyone with a material body cannot remember his past life, nor can he foretell his future life, nor can he predict the outcome of his present life as well. So we living entity, we are very minute. We don't know our past, not present, nor even future. And therefore, he cannot know what's happening in the past, present, and future. So unless one is liberated from the metal contamination, he cannot know past, present, and future. Right? So that's the point is, and we have discussed about this, this Krishna speaking to Vivaswan, the same Bhagavad Gita earlier. However, this knowledge has been loved, so Krishna speaking again. Right? So that's again a point being established here, that Krishna is a person. He knows not only about himself, he knows about every living entity, because Krishna is residing in every living entity as Paramatma. Right? And he's the same Paramatma in everyone's. So he knows our present, past, future very well, but we do not know. Right? So that's 26 verse where Krishna knows everything. And then 27. So the question becomes here, like, then why can't we know Krishna? So Krishna knows everything about us. Then how can we know about Krishna, or why can't we know about Krishna? So that's verse says, 27th verse. It says, because of this reason, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvanda mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarga yanti parantapa. Krishna says, O strain of Bharata, O conqueror of the few, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from the desire and hate. Because of these two things, desire and hate, attraction and repulsion, Ichha dvesha, because of these two reasons, and we are actually in delusion. And because of these dualities, we cannot know Krishna. Right? So it's a nice example being given. In this material world, we hate the same thing depending on our circumstances and time and place, isn't it? Just a couple of examples. Let's suppose air conditioner, cooler. We like the cooler when it is hot, but we hate the cooler in winter. Right? We like heater in the warm in the winter, but we hate heater in summer. So that's how this, because of the desire and hate, and everyone is being bewildered by this delusion of dualities. So if you remember, always Krishna has spoken these things like, be equipoised, sama sukha dukha. Every time, even in sukha, happiness, or in dukha, in distress, try to be equipoised. Right? And because of these three modes, and depending upon how much we are entangled with these three modes, we are being bewildered, and hence it becomes difficult to know Krishna. So Prabhupada says the real constitutional position of living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. And one is diluted into separation from this pure knowledge, becomes controlled by the illusory energy, there is Maya Sakti, and cannot understand Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right. I think there's one more point in 26. Yes, I missed one point here. Prabhupada, sorry, I'll come back again to this after coming this point. So that's how, because of this illusory energy, we cannot understand Supreme Personality of Godhead. How this illusory energy works, Krishna actually, Prabhupada explains this in previous verse already. Let's go back over there. He says that the transcendental body of Sri Krishna is non-perishable. He is just like sun, and the Maya is like a cloud. In the material world, we can see that there is sun and that there are clouds and different stars and planets. However, the clouds may cover all these in the sky temporarily, but this covering is only apparent to our limited vision. Right? So that's how this Maya covers put the curtain so that we can't see Krishna. Right? So see, when you see, still even in the daytime there are stars, but we can't see them because of so much light from the sun. And even sometimes in cloudy weather, sun is there in the daytime, but because of cloudy weather, we can't see sun properly or sunlight properly. It doesn't mean that sun is not there. Sun still exists there, but because of the cloud, because of dense of the cloud, our vision is limited, and hence we can't cross the cloud and see sun. So in a similar way, this Maya, it makes a curtain. And even we discussed in last week how Kunti Maharani says that Maya Javana Kachanam. So this Maya puts a curtain between the living entity and Krishna. So unless and until we have this faith well that curtain is already there and we can't see it. And she gives an example how the actor in the drama, he make up himself very well, but in a different way, that the person, even they could not recognize who he is. So in the similar way, this Maya puts a curtain between living entity and Krishna so that we could not recognize him, right? Because of our devolution of Isha and Dvesha, right? So that's, this point was how this illusory energy manifests in the duality of desire and hate. It covers us from seeing Krishna. That's the illusory energy. That's Maya Sakti. And due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envious Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So pure devotees who are not deluded and contaminated by the desire and hate can understand that Lord Krishna appears by his internal potencies. But those who are deluded by duality and nescience think that Supreme Personality of Godhead is created by material energy, but that's not the case. And we discussed elaborately in our previous session that Krishna has his own spiritual identity, his person, he's not impersonal, right? So again, Prabhupada makes more point about the dual in dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc. And thinking that this is my wife, this is my house, I'm the master of this house, I'm the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. Those who are so related by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just to, when we go above this, we will be able to know Krishna. And again, in next verse, in 28, Krishna is going to say it as well, that how we can know Krishna. So 28 verse says about how we can know Krishna, right? He says, Yesham tevanta gatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta majante mamadadavrita. So earlier Krishna says dvandas, dualities of what? Isha and Dvesha, desire and hatred. And Krishna is saying, te dvanda moha nirmukta. Now they will get cleaned by this moha. How? Yesham te antagatam papam. When the papa get cleared, or our sinful life get finished, or doing sinful activities gets finished, and janmanam punya karmanam, and the person start performing pious activities, right? So let's see it, and then we can worship Krishna or do some devotional service, Dridhavrita, with full determination. So how to know Krishna? Krishna says here, persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So in the previous verse, Krishna says that because of these dualities, because of this delusion of these dualities, Isha and Dvesha, we are covered to know Krishna. We could not understand Krishna. However, Krishna is saying that it's possible as well. How it is? When we act piously in previous lives as well in these lives, and when sinful actions are completely eradicated, then we can know Krishna well, right? And then we worship Krishna with full determination. So Prabhupada says, yes, with this purport, that those eligible for elevation to transcendental positions are mentioned in this verse. So for those who are sinful, atheistic, foolish, and deceitful, it is very difficult to transcend the duality of desire and hate. So if you remember, Krishna already spoken that, how we can, by taking shelter of Krishna, we can actually cross these three modes as well, right? So only those who have passed their lives in practicing the regulative principles of religion, who have acted piously, and who have conquered sinful reactions can accept devotional service and gradually rise to pure knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's a gradual process. By accepting, first, how can I accept? It's again, in Bhagavatam is explained that when we do some seva, when we do some mahat seva, when we do some service to the devotees, we get Agyata Sukriti. So we get the pious results from them. And that Sukriti, this Agyata Sukriti, helps us performing the other limbs of bhakti. And then we progress gradually. Right. So that's a gradual process, and gradually they can meditate in trance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Got it. And that's the process of being situated in spiritual platform. And this process, this elevation is possible in Krishna consciousness, in the association of pure devotees. As I said, when we do some service to the devotees, when we do some service to the Lord, and then we get this Agyata Sukriti, and that Agyata Sukriti helps us to advance further in our. And I think I told this one as well, by doing Mahat Seva, so worshipping or doing service to the pure devotees. Right. So how to know Krishna is very, very simple. Answer is associate with the devotees, associate with the Bhagavad, associate with the Bhagavad Gita, associate with the holy name, and then gradually we can understand Krishna. Right. So a question might come here that, okay, if you say, if I become free from sinful life, I act wisely, then only I will be able to know Krishna. So when it will come? Because right now you might say, I'm not pious, I'm not free from sinful activity. So shall I not try to know Krishna? It's not like that. And Prabhupada, in one of this conversation, Prabhupada says to his disciple in an earlier time that one of his disciple, I think in the initial stage, when Prabhupada went to the US for preaching the Krishna consciousness, and then Prabhupada introduced the chanting of holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then he says, we have 4 great principles to follow gradually, that no meat eating, no illicit sex, and no intoxication, and no gambling. And then the person he came and says, I think I am eating meat, so I think I should stop eating meat first, and then try to take chanting the holy name. That would work. Then Prabhupada says, no, that's a good thing, but if you start chanting the holy name, the other things will happen gradually. No worry for that. So if we, even without completely purified, even without completely free from sinful life, even without having complete pious activity, if we can at least engage ourselves in chanting the holy name, associating with the Bhagavad, like associating with the devotees and the scriptures, gradually purification will happen. So not associating with the devotees, not associating with the chanting of holy name, not associating with hearing Krishna Katha, there is no chance of purification. Right. So when we associate, purification happens. So the first thing is that we need to take our own step to associate with these things. Associate with the, we discussed earlier ABCD. So A is association of the devotees, B is books, reading scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and C is chanting holy name, and D is taking Krishna Prasadam diet. So if we do A, B, C, D, and E is engaging ourselves in A, B, C, and D. So in this way, if we can somehow or other, somehow or other, if we can engage our mind in Krishna, a bare time, we can spend 10-15 minutes for chanting the holy name, 10-15 minutes for reading Bhagavad Gita. We spend so much time in social medias, but if we can spend some time for Krishna, it's going to reciprocate us, and we can clearly, we can be purified as well gradually. So as he says here, that in association of the pure devotees, for the association of the great devotees, one can deliver from the delusion. So to get away from the delusion, the answer is to associate with the Krishna consciousness. So when we have attachment to the something higher, we gradually give up the lower things. So without attaching ourselves something higher, it's not possible to give up the lower things, right? So when we associate with the higher things, these delusions or these 3 modes, they are not going to make more trouble to us gradually, right? That's again same thing Prabhupada says, that if one actually wants to be liberated, so I get this the point, right? If one actually wants, so if we have the desire to get liberation, get mukti. I was hearing a lecture there, it says maximum people in this Kali Yuga, they don't wanted to be liberated. They all wanted to be engaged in sense gratification. So that the question point comes here: if one actually wants to be liberated, then he must render service to devotees. So the determination which we have, how much determined we are to get liberated, to get away from this material life and go to spiritual world, that defines our activity, right? If we are determined, then we must render service to the devotees. That Mahat Sevan Devaram Ahur Vimukteha. But one who associates with the materialistic people is on the path of leading to the darkest region of existence. Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. Right. So we are opening. So if you remember earlier, Krishna already says about the mind. The mind can be our best friend, and the mind can be our worst enemy as well. So Krishna says that engage your mind to elevate yourself, not to degrade. So in a similar way, by our mind and intelligence, we can think that if we want to get liberated, we can associate with the devotees, understand Bhagavad Gita, read Bhagavad Gita, chant holy name, Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Take the shelter of holy places, just go there and have darsans of the holy places, the deities, right? That's the way for liberating. If we don't want, then if we associate with the materialistic people, we are opening the path for dark region, that's towards hellish planets, or maybe different bodies, not human, right? So that's the choice is ours. So I think these lines would be in a bold, saying that if we actually wants to be liberated, right? So this is this teaching by Rishabh in Canto 5. Okay. So now let's see text 29, where Krishna speaks about the people who wanted to get liberated. So here, in this verse, Krishna says that they engage themselves in my service with determination, and now he's talking about the people who wanted to get liberated. So that's Prabhupada says earlier wants that someone who wants to get liberated. Right, let's see. So Jara Marana Mokshaya Mama Ashita Yatanti ye Te Brahma Tad Vidhu Kritsnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakhilam. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. Right. So remember these words. Krishna speaks about in this previous that those who are impersonalists, they are unintelligent. Those who approach to devatas for their sense gratification and fulfilling of desire, they are less intelligent. And here it says intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation. So anyone who is actually endeavoring for liberation from where? From old age and death. We all know that Janma Mrita Jara Vyadhi, it actually binds us in this material world. Right. So what they do, the people who are actually endeavoring for liberation, they take shelter of Krishna by serving in devotional service, and they are actually called Brahman. Means, the point comes is like we should try to inquire about Brahman. Who am I? Right. And now Krishna says the people who looks for liberation and they go one away from this old age and death, they take shelter of me, and they are Brahman because they know everything about transcendental activities. They know the sense that actually by taking shelter of Krishna only, we can be free from old age and death. Right. So I think this verse, the last verse, both are quite interesting. Here Krishna explains about some 7 or 8 new terminology, which actually becomes the basis of chapter 8. So let's see. So birth, death, old age and disease affects this material body, but not the spiritual body. So our spiritual body, or what is that? Our soul, it is not being affected by birth, death, old and disease, right? So okay, I'll share one slide. Maybe I think I've shared it earlier, but I was preparing for this next Sunday. I'll share it you. Give me some second. So I will see it what happens. So there is no birth and old age and disease for spiritual body. So who attains the spiritual body becomes one of the associate of the Supreme Lord and engage in eternal devotional service. That is rarely liberation, right? Understanding that I am spirit, and then understanding who is super spirit or supreme spirit, right? And then what my relationship is, that is basically serving his lotus feet, right? So, and then Prabhupada says that it is said that one should understand that, sorry, so Brahmasmi, I am spirit. It is said that one should understand that he is Brahman or spirit soul, and this Brahman conception of life is also devotional service as described in this verse, right? And there are new terms being come here, like Brahman, then Adhyatmam, right? And in next verse there are some more coming. Let's go to the next verse and see, and then I'll show the slides, the other one. So Sadi Bhutadhi Devam Mam Sadi Yajam Cha E Vidu Prayana Kale Api Cha Mam Te Vidur Yukta Chetasa. So those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of the all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. So just don't worry about this verse. Actually, we'll discuss it in chapter 8 properly. The 8 terms comes here, that one is Adibhuta, Adidevya, Adiyagya, and Prayana Kale. This 5. Remember, Adibhuta, Adidevya, Adiyagya, Prayana Kale, and here too comes Adhyatma and Brahma, right? So this verse will actually, Krishna is going to, Arjuna is going to ask the question, what are these new terms? So please explain me in detail. So Krishna speak chapter 8 to clarify the doubt of Arjuna. So we'll also discuss this thing again in chapter 8 in a detail, what these things are, right? So Prabhupada says in purport that persons acting in Krishna consciousness are never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So more you hear, more you know. More you hear, more you know. It's unlimited, unending, right? So we'll discuss more on this 2 verses when we start chapter 8, and that's why this says, thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of knowledge of the Absolute. So give me 1 minute, I'll share the other slide about the spirit soul and how it happens. Okay. Yeah, can you see this? Anyone, please?
No, Prabhuji.
Oh, can't see it. Okay, just a second. Oh, sorry. Now hope you can see this.
Yes, we can see it in the science of the self soul.
Okay, I think there's a text in very dark, so let's see. So this is what happens in liberation. So there are 3 things, right? One is in yellow is actually soul. Okay. All right, right. So this is our soul, right? And that's in yellow. So what happens? So we are made of these three things. First is the soul, and then if you see this in green, that's our subtle body. So green line, this is subtle body. Subtle body is what? Mind, body, intelligence, and ego. Man, buddhi, and ahankar. That we discussed in previous verses of this chapter. Okay, and then the outer cell. Outer cell is what? This gross body. So Pancha Mahabhut. So Pancha Mahabhut and these three, mind, intelligence, ego. So, and these are anyway gross. The subtle body is also gross. Anyway, subtle body, it's not in, completely spiritual. And a gross body anyway is physical elements or the five Pancha Mahabhut. So what happens in incarnation? So when we take another body, or in the next body, maybe either human body or whatever it is, any living entity, any living being. So this Pancha Mahabhut, it actually get destroyed, and the soul actually takes another body. However, it also comes with this man, buddhi, and ahankar. So this is called actually our sanskar or impression coming from previous life. So this previous lives. So you can understand one thing, that the way we are living in this life, actually we have the impression is coming from our previous life, and the way we live in this life actually decides our next life, right? So this green, this is subtle body, man, buddhi, and ahankar. It's remain with the soul and comes with the takes the next body. If you can see in this world, if see some people from childhood, they are very good at some activities like some drawing or some singing or some things that actually coming from previous life, isn't it? So that's how reincarnation happens. So the soul, it's remain there. The soul never dies, right? And the man, buddhi, ahankar, this also remains there when you get this new metal body. So what happens at liberation is this. So even in liberation, this outer cell, this five Panchamabhut anyways goes away. Even this Mana, Buddhi, Ahankar, this also remains here. Only the spiritual spark, this yellow part, it goes there and it gets a new spiritual body, and that's completely spiritual. There is no tinge of material. This this yellow, green and red, nothing is there. Only the spiritual spark goes over there, and then we go to spiritual world. We get this spiritual body, right? Hope this makes a bit sense about the last verse we discussed, where Krishna says what happens at liberation, right? So we give up our material body and we get our spiritual body, right? So we'll stop here today. Anyway, it's we have tried to conclude chapter 7, and we're going to start chapter 8 on this Friday, which is actually going to be very interesting, where Krishna is going to explain this 8 things, 7 things, I think 7. So let me read it out again. So these are what is Brahman, what is Adhyatma, what is Karma. Yes, we are missing Karma, and Adhibhuta, Adidaiva, Adiyagya, and Prayanakale. So Prayanakale is basically at the time of giving up the body. So karma, we have already discussed a bit in our previous section, that is chapter 1 to chapter 6, but these are new terms for Arjuna, even for us as well. So Arjuna is going to ask the question to Krishna in first 2 verses of chapter 8, that Krishna, please explain me what these are, and Krishna is going to explain all those things, and we'll see it. So just a quick summary, we can say it in chapter 7, what we have done is, or maybe we can, so the summary of chapter 7 will start in the next session, and so that we can be in continuation with chapter 8. Anyone have any questions or thoughts? Want to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very nice session, and I like the slides. It's very simple to understand. So just one question I had is, we spoke about the gross body, subtle body, and the soul. Where is the super soul in that.
Yeah.
So when we get the spiritual body, is super soul part of that, or?
No, actually. So what happened in this material world? So it's like it's been explained earlier. Like it's like container, right? So in the glass, if you see there's a water, you can't take water alone, right? We need some container to take the water, isn't it? So that container is actually supreme super soul. So Atma and Paramatma, they are always combined in this material world.
Okay.
They always remain intact. So Atma cannot survive by its own in this material world. So always there is a Paramatma with it, that self. So wherever Atma is, the Paramatma goes. But
Okay.
so that's again a partial expansion of Krishna. But when we get liberated in the spiritual world, it's only the Atma. There is no Paramatma lives there with Atma. It's Atma only gets the spiritual body.
Okay. And the Atma goes to the Paramatma's world. That's Vaikuntham.
That's a different Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavan or Ayodhya or Saket Dham kind of things. Yes. So depending upon how where we are inclined to Krishna. So what forms of Krishna we are inclined to.
Okay. And thanks, Prabhu. That's helpful. And just one more question is, so when in the last paragraph that we just read, the 26-27, what was the question Arjuna had asked that Krishna explains the different
No, so I said again. So Krishna has actually explained what he says, that those in full knowledge of me, who knows me, the Supreme Lord, to be governing principle of material manifestation of the demigods and of all modes of sacrifice, can understand and know me. So where this terms comes, this Adibhuta. So Arjuna is going to answer that what do you mean by Adibhuta, or who is the governing principle of the material manifestation, and what is Adideva, who is the governing of all demigods. However, Krishna says that those who in full consciousness of me who know me as the as a governing of all the demigods, or I am the governing principle of material manifestation, I am the governing of all sacrifices. However, that's as becomes a new term for Arjuna. He's going to ask the question, please explain me in a bit more detail.
Okay.
Right. So these 7 terms Krishna is going to explain again in chapter 8.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Right. So if you'll see, let me go back again to chapter 8 just for this. See, Arjuna says, Kim Tad Brahman, the first thing, Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Karma, third, Brahman first, Adhyatma second, Karma thing, Purushottam is Krishna. Oh Krishna, what are this Brahman, what is Adhyatma, what is Karma, and what is Adi Bhutam Cha Kim Proktam, Adi Devam Kim Uchyate. So what is Adi Bhutam and what is Adi Devam? So please explain me this. Right?
Okay.
So Arjuna says, oh Lord, what is the Brahman? What is the self? And what are the fruitive activities? What is karma? What is material manifestation? So Krishna says that material manifestation actually is being controlled by me. So he's asking, what's that? Right. So he says, demigods are actually being controlled by me. So what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. And the next verse he says this Adiyagya katham ko atra deha ashmin madhusudana prayana kalesha katham geyosi nityat niyatatmavi. So please explain me these words.
Okay.
We're going to explain this in chapter 8.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so if it's all good, we can stop here today, and we'll continue as said chapter 8 in next Friday. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Param Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we'll